Whiskey lovers, this one's for you. We sat down with Jim Flash Gordon, a man with decades of whiskey knowledge, to hear his best stories and insights. From rare bottles to legendary tastings, you won't want to miss this. And if you enjoy it, check out the full interview link below.
I'm Jim Flash Gordon. This is Revolution Whiskey Bar in Waterford in Ireland. And this is our claim to fame. This is 375,000 euros worth of Midleton very rare whiskey. And this is our new 40-year-old. This is super cool. This goes over the bar at about 2,500 a measure. If you want to buy a bottle, you'd be talking 23,000 euro. And then our pièce de résistance is just to the left of it. And this is a Midleton Silent Distillery 46-year-old. This is in a Waterford crystal decanter. It's one of the oldest whiskies to come out of Midleton. At the moment, this goes over the bar at 5,000 per measure. And the bottle, if you want to buy it online, if you can find one, would be in around 60,000 euro. There's only 3 of them, I believe, in Ireland. The rest, there was only 76 bottles left in the cask. This is where we go back and explain to you about Angel Share. Yes. So a typical Irish whiskey barrel or Irish bourbon whiskey barrel would hold about 400 to 500 bottles. After 46 years, it evaporated through the wood at the rate of about 2.5% a year. That's called the Angel Share of the whiskey. The Angels were very hungry after 46 years, and there was only 78 bottles left in the barrel. And those were divided among the world, 3 for Ireland and the rest everywhere else. We had over 200 distilleries in the island of Ireland by the time Prohibition came along. It decimated our business, and by the 1970s, there was only 2 full-time and 1 part-time distillery left on the island of Ireland. Now, the cool thing is some of the big boys in Dublin, John Jemison, John Bauer, Gilby's, a gang of them got together. They formed Irish Distillers and they moved to Midleton in Cork. This is a raspberry brandy cask. The raspberry brandy cask came from California and they put an 8 to 10-year-old whiskey in it. Well, we'll have to share one of these. We can't just go smell the bottle. So on the nose, you're going to get fresh raspberry. Huge kick of spices, pot still spices, which is like vanilla, cinnamon, like fruit cake, that kind of thing. And then on the palate, on the front of your tongue, you're going to get fresh raspberries. On the middle and side of your tongue, you're going to get pot still spice. And the back of your tongue, what we call the finish of whiskey, is going to be like swallowing a teaspoon of raspberry jam.
Okay.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
It's called Two Stacks Cream.
Yep.
So they looked at the business model and gone, look, we're a little small company. How are we going to make a name for ourselves? How are we going to create volume? So the most famous thing out of Ireland is Bailey's Cream Liqueur. And when they did a little bit of research in it, they were quite shocked. And they went, we can do better. So this has 8 times the amount of whiskey as Bailey's.
What?
And 4 times the amount of dairy cream. Okay? Anyone I've given this to has never gone back to Bailey's again. Bailey's will kill me for this. This has the cream, which will enliven your tongue because fat enlivens your taste buds. But then you get a lovely kick of whiskey off the back of it, which you don't get from Bailey's because there's 8 times the amount of whiskey from 4 different casks in each bottle. Sláinte again.
Sláinte.
And this is one of our favorite ones. This is called Bulkon, and get my glasses on to read this for you. Older than whiskey, older than moonshine. Bulkon was the ancient drop of choice for Irish funerals and wakes. So here's to the dead and buried. Okay? And this is direct flame fired and 50% peated oats and 50% peated barley. So oats and barley together just make a crazy combination. I'll just give you a little drop because I don't want you to fall over on this.
No.
This is heading towards 140 proof.
140?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice and easy.
Is it a good smell?
Sláinte once again.
Sláinte.
It's going to be challenging now.
Is it?
Yes. And a couple of interesting facts about Irish whiskey. We were governed by England, the kings and queens of England, for nearly 900 years, or over 900 years. And they came to collect their taxes every year, and, you know, everything was tax on everything. Mm-hmm. So they decided the Irish were drinking too much. I don't know why. So they introduced a double taxation on malted barley. So whatever the tax was at the time, they doubled it, which technically doubled the price of whiskey. So Irish people went, we can't afford this anymore, and that was the idea of it. So what we did is we introduced 50% unmalted barley into the malted barley to make the whiskey. And we're going, it actually made it better. So Irish whiskey, as opposed to Scotch, has a longer finish down the back of your throat on it, and that's because of the unmalted barley. And the unmalted barley just sticks to your palate. What I love, there's so many stories behind Irish whiskies and how blends came to be. So this is the Spot range of whiskey. So what I have in front of you is Green Spot, which is a 10-year-old pot still whiskey. Yellow. So we'll have a taste while we're talking the story, because this goes back 130 odd years. 7 generations or 8 generations of the Mitchell family from Dublin. So on the nose, you're getting sort of orchard fruits, maybe even Granny Smith apple, pot still spices on the palate. It's nearly chewy. Pot still spices to the front, sweetness of green apple to the side of the tongue. And so smooth, there is no malt cut or peppery cut off the back of it, and it's only a 10-year-old whiskey. So then now and again he'd go, that could be a really good 10-year-old whiskey. So he'd put a daub of green paint on the barrel and bring it down into his cellar and cross underneath the streets of Dublin to be stored there for 10 years. And then the yellow for 12 and the red for 15. So my question to you is, why a daub of green paint on the barrel? His staff couldn't read or write, but they understood colours. Okay. So a daub of green paint, put it down, so 10 years' time you go, get me the one with the green paint on it or the yellow paint on it or whatever. So we were talking about Midleton Very Rare. Yes. So this is Midleton Very Rare 2024. 2025 will be released just after Patrick's Day in the US, and it'll be released in March, April, and again in October, November. So again, this is beautifully blended whiskey. Fantastic bottle. So this is, we would use it as a celebration whiskey for births, deaths, marriages, any excuse to open a good bottle of whiskey. We say it's a celebration whiskey. I've had many tourists here over the years, and I said, on the birth of your firstborn son, buy a bottle of Midleton Very Rare whiskey. And then every year on his birthday, buy a bottle of it. Hide it under your bed, somewhere he can't find it. And by the time he needs to go to college, this should have increased in value enough to pay a good way towards his college fees.
That was just a taste of Flash's incredible whiskey stories. Want more? Watch the full 30-minute interview linked below. And don't forget to subscribe for more great stories, food, and drink adventures. Sláinte!